the greatest thing that I've realized is when we learn from relationships is one from romantic comedies. What is that?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Right? Come on. Or your parents, which
Which could be a horrible or great example.
exactly.
Or a mixed bag.
Or mixed
Right.
bag, which is probably the third option.
Or just whatever you make up in your head. So it's literally
Or Disney movies.
The Disney movie.
Yeah, this is those
Listen
words,
to
yes.
me. I was just watching a certain princess. I'm like, is she 16? Did she just say she was 16 and now she's getting swept off her feet after 3 days? Like.
If you believe we can change the narrative, if you believe we can change our communities, if you believe we can change the outcomes, then we can change the world. I'm Rob Richardson. Welcome to Disruption Now.
Welcome to Disruption Now. I'm Rob Richardson. With me as always, my man on who's been helping me, co-partner, leader of Calling It Like I See It, James Keys. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
Hey, man, couldn't be any better. We are here with our special guest, Coach Cass.
Woo-hoo! So excited to be here.
How you doing?
Hi guys, I'm doing well.
Love Doctor, love Coach. I don't know.
Hey.
All those things
All
together.
of the above.
Always right? So we are talking about, we focus a lot on disruption now, about disrupting common narratives and constructs. So I want to talk about sisters, black love, and try very hard not to get myself in trouble, but it's disruption. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves in a little bit of trouble. That's
Just a little bit,
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Right?
Walk the line.
Yeah, walk the line and maybe tiptoe it, maybe cross a little bit. When, your kind of target market has been kind of, people that just are looking for love, focus on their career, maybe have a divorce. What do you see with that profile of a person, of a woman? What do you see as their biggest challenge initially when they come into your office? You say, Coach Cass, what do you hear most often?
All the good men are missing.
Oh yeah, where they at?
They're all taken. They're all
Yeah.
like they're hiding under a rock. Do I have
Yeah.
a special like code or vault that I keep good men? Is usually what they're looking for. So
Yeah.
once we get past that, what I find as one of the biggest limitations is the need to control. The need to control. We're talking about high-powered women that have, been through business, get things done, do things a certain way. And, in relationships, it's a give and take.
Give and take.
So if you don't fold the clothes that I like the way you fold the clothes, then you might have to go, right? So how do you start to release control in just one area of your life? Because remember, these ladies control every single thing. So now as a man, do you really want to be controlled by your woman?
And the thing, it has to be a voluntary release also. It can't be somebody takes the control from you. You have to offer that control.
Exactly.
So I'm sure if you're used to controlling everything, how do you turn over just one thing? Like, that's
You're like,
wild.
how can I find I'm projecting for them, we probably shouldn't be. But
No, don't call yourself out.
yeah.
Just
But
let it ride.
hey, but look, it's like, this is me going through having dated plenty of powerful sisters, and
Yes.
I love powerful sisters, by the
Yes.
way. Love it because I consider myself powerful, so do I want to be with someone that's not powerful? No.
Yeah.
However,
Right.
there's that challenge, and I've seen that play out. We're like, okay, when I'm in the business, I get to say, okay, we're doing X, Y, Z. We got to, we have everything lined up. They think, okay, they're supposed to line you up that way. I'm like, and I'm not a type of, I've learned, this is part of growing up and having gone through, I can say, I've gone through a divorce, so I've gone through a failure. It's never one person, I think it's always both. But that experience has taught me how to react better. Like I pulled myself out of those situations without engaging in the conflict. And I found that they were surprised when that happened. And I'll ask you a question for me, like, how do you? I don't feel like I can give advice to people about why I failed, but 'cause I think it should be obvious. Like,
Listen, we can't make assumptions, right? Most of us, all of us, didn't take a class in college about love and relationships.
None of us did. That would be very helpful class.
Right? Exactly.
You should teach that at
Well,
university.
Yes.
It depends on who's teaching it, though.
Right. Oh, you're
Coach
right.
Cass,
You're
yeah.
right. Because there are
Yeah.
professors that lead astray in every subject,
That's true.
right? Right.
That's
Professional professors and did nothing in the field. So the greatest thing that I've realized is when we learn from relationships is one from romantic comedies. What is that?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Right? Come on. Or your parents, which
Which could be a horrible or great example.
exactly.
Or a mixed bag.
Or
Right.
bag, which is probably the third option.
Or just whatever you make up in your head. So it's literally
Or Disney movies.
the Disney movie.
Yeah, this is those
Listen
words,
to
yes.
me. I was just watching a certain princess. I'm like, is she 16? Did she just say she was 16 and now she's getting swept off her feet after 3 days? Like, this is so warped. I watch those things and I'm like, ooh, hallelujah, I need to create something different, right? Like, it's just not it, right? So just looking at all of that, we can't fault people anymore, right? So that's why I exist, because just like when it comes to making money, if you never saw the example and you're not a child genius, how are you supposed to know, right? There's some people we know that live right down the street that only know McDonald's lifestyle, and that's all they know.
Right.
And they live across the street from the beach lap of luxury. Two different mindsets just because they're not exposed. So for me, yes, I did choose a very hard niche to get into. Women who are focused on their career, want love, but they are scared of it all at the same time.
And when you talk about being used to something, I think what people fail to appreciate is that once a habit is built up in your mind, right, it literally sets a pathway, a nerve pathway is built, and it is set there. The longer it's been there, the longer it's there, and you have to
Disrupt it.
train a new habit, and it's hard for your brain to do that because it keeps wanting to go back to the default of what it's used to. So people are used to having unhealthy, toxic relationships, right? They think this is how a relationship is supposed to work.
Exactly.
Your brain has been used to that, so that it says, okay, if I'm not getting this from a relationship, there must be something wrong. I like to talk through that because I think that's a challenge for men and women. I'll let you go, Coach.
All right. So
You had to take a sip for that.
right,
one.
that was a sip. Sip on my tea. So we end up in these cycles when it comes to relationships, and it comes to a point where you start to feel like, wait a second, I feel like I'm in the same relationship over and over again, just a different head.
Yeah.
Now, it takes a true evolutionary person to say, well, who's the common denominator, right? Yeah. So that's what happened to me, right? So for me, I was the common denominator. I remember I was dating this guy that I thought was the one, right? I thought this guy was it. Yes, we getting married, boo. Invested in business, traveled the world.
Right.
Valentine's Day filled my office with all types of flowers and toys and not those type of toys. I'm just talking about stuffed animals and such, right? So
We don't judge. It's good. We only listen. Go ahead.
So one Christmas Eve, I get a call from a mutual friend. He said, hey, Cass, are you sitting? I'm like, what's up? Merry Christmas. He said, that's not why I'm calling. What's going on? Oh, you know that guy that you think is the one? Yeah, what about him? He's married.
Oh.
Ooh, hallelujah. Right? So as a Christian woman, I had to walk away from that relationship.
Yeah.
But how many of us have been in a relationship and it not leave us? You know, nobody's calling me to say how stupid I am, but yet every morning that was the first thought that I had. That's the thought I had throughout the day.
You knew.
Every single day.
You knew, but didn't probably want to acknowledge it.
Oh, that. Okay, so 2020 hindsight, right? So you look back and like, oh, so is that why those conversations in the bathroom were so long? Oh, is that why he didn't pick up sometime? You know, which was still crazy. Like, what kind of marriage do you have if you're at my house 24/7, right? Like, anyway, so, you know, looking back, I was like, this is bananas. So my defining moment came when I had like my 29th wedding invitation. And I was like, wait a second, is everybody getting married? You know, it didn't matter the age, the stage, the race, the weight, right? Didn't matter. And I said, okay, well, something's got to give.
Right.
I'm going to become a student of love. And then nothing happened. How many times do we say, I'm going to do something, and then crickets? Nothing happens.
Right.
So for me, I kept getting into toxic relationship after toxic relationship. And I was just like, okay, I really need to invest in my love life, just like I invest in my business, just like I invest in my fitness, just like I invest in my travel, invest in my love life. And so then now that has created the journey. So I've read almost 100 books on love. I've gone to marriage conferences as a single woman, right? So, you know those cutouts where you put your face in, right? So it was my face with the bride and the groom was just empty. Everybody's like, where's the groom, Cass? He coming, right? So I interviewed couples who had been married for over 25 years and actually still liked each other because like what we were talking about, right? I knew a lot of married couples, but they weren't selling this thing called marriage.
Like,
at
they
all.
tell the truth. Most people that are in this, at least half, right? You just look at the stats. Say half it ends in divorce, and the other half are not happy with their other half. So, like,
right. So I literally had to go far and wide across the country in terms of conversations with people that actually still liked each other.
Yeah.
Then I interviewed successful women who had success in business and in love, because there was a limiting belief that I had that you couldn't do both at the same time. It's like, no, I got to focus on my money, because then, love is going to mess that up. So, they helped me to clear that all up. So then that's what has brought me to where I am. I attracted an amazing man, my husband, beautiful baby girl. And now I realize so many women are like stumbling into relationships where they're settling, right? So we all know somebody in like a settling type of situation.
Men do it too.
Right? And then
people do it.
People
do it, right? There's
people,
a lot of peopledom of settling. Or on the other side, they're like, oh, it'll come when it comes.
Right.
And they're waiting for this magic fairy dust without admitting it, right? We want the romantic comedy.
Yeah.
But it's not happening. There's nothing funny about this situation.
What's the balance to that? Well, I have two questions.
You gotta focus on it. Think about anything amazing you've done in your life. Has it happened by happen chance, or has it happened with focus? Has it happened with a plan?
Right.
Has it happened with intent, right? Has it happened with you saying, okay, this is something that I want in this world and I'm gonna go for it, right? So like when it comes to fitness, do you just say, I'm going to be healthy today and it just happens by osmosis? No.
But love is a little more, if I can challenge this.
Challenge me.
I will challenge you.
Here we go.
It seems like the most important thing in finding someone that is compatible with you is to understand you. Is that wrong?
Yes. No.
So that seems like an internal journey.
It is an
at least the
internal
first.
journey.
Let's talk about that part. Then the second part, I like this. I have another part follow up, but like, how do you go about evaluating self awareness? Because to me, that's been my journey.
Yes.
I'll say I had unrealistic expectations for
Yes.
what I really wanted, and then what I should want, and what will actually work for me.
Yes.
I'm talking for me.
Oh no!
Introspection is very difficult.
It is.
You would think people are looking like they're looking at stars 10 billion miles away.
They look at everybody else like, why can't you get a relationship? Why can't you get a
people are
you fail at your relationship? Like,
Right.
What about you?
To turn inside.
So I have an event called the Success in Love Summit where I walk women through a 4-step process called the Real Love Roadmap. So real start with R, the reality check, right? So we got to do a reality check of what you've been through and what has been the theme there and what has been the patterns there and who broke up with who and who has been the one to steer these relationships. I specifically think of a client that I had where she realized she married every serious relationship that she had. And the reason why is because she was raised as a good church girl, and you don't sleep around.
There you go.
So once she had sex with somebody, she was like, "Well, we're getting married.
Wow.
We just have to get married."
That's not a good model.
And that's it. Not at all. Right? And this is somebody who was 53 that realized that through us working together. Right? So we have some toxic things that we embed into our relationship and expectations. I have a book that I always recommend. It's by Dr. Robin L. Smith. It's called Lies at the Altar. Right?
There's a lot of them there.
Yeah, Lies at the Altar. So just imagine there's Mary and John, and they're going down the aisle. Do, 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 right? So Mary's over here saying, "Oh, I'm so excited that, John is going to get married. He's my best friend." Well, actually, Sam, my dog, is my best friend. And Sam's going to sleep at the foot of the bed every night. They didn't have that conversation. John, "Oh, I'm so excited about Mary and Mary. Oh, I'm so excited she's going to iron my shirts every Sunday."
Yes, you better have that conversation.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But these are all those expectations that we have that we don't have conversations about, and then we get surprised when we get in a relationship or in a marriage because we don't talk about what do we talk about when we get in a relationship? "Oh, you so sexy."
Yeah.
"Hey, boo." Right? What do you want to eat? Where are we going?
Yep.
What we doing tonight? Like, that's what relationships become, which is just so drab, which is why I created the Love Deck. It's like there are questions that you need to ask to really understand people. People don't have real in-depth conversations anymore.
What's a question? You got a Love Deck question.
I'm like, Love Deck question.
We'll put this up on the website.
Okay, so what are your top 4 pet peeves?
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
Come on.
That's good. My wife and I talk about this often.
Come on.
Well, no, let me say this.
Come on.
We call them deal breakers. Like, people need to be aware of the things because they're not going to be different for different people.
Right.
And so pet peeves, whether it's somebody that, bites their nails, because it could be stupid stuff.
That turned out to be a pet peeve of my husband's.
Really?
So now I always have to have my nails done to make sure that I don't bite my nails. I used to be a nail biter, but I saw how much it irked him.
Yeah. But it's little things like that, because when you, like, I tell people about this all the time, like, living with someone is difficult. You can have roommates, your friends.
Living with people you like is difficult.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, anyone. And then
your kids.
Friends. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Oh, man. And having friends, like, if you spent as much time with your friends as you do with a potential mate,
right,
they would drive you crazy 9 times out of 10. So that stuff is very difficult.
Crazy. Sorry.
I can't live with my best friend. We tried that.
And so the challenge.
I just visited him on weekends. So when he was at Howard, that's all I did. Go ahead.
But the challenge is so great because we have such high expectations as far as what we think. One question I wanted to ask you, actually, before it gets away from me, it seems like, or I wonder if time, the way things have evolved, make things more difficult now. Because, like, for example, your client that was 53 that married every serious relationship she had. The fact that there's so many more options now, like if she lived in a small town with 500 people.
Alabama.
Well, see, and that kind of fits a little bit. But when you have options in the millions,
you're in Miami, pull up Instagram, swipe left.
Well, prospective options.
But I still have ladies in Miami that say they're no good men. So it's all about perspective, right? Well, it really is.
But don't you, if you have so many more people that you at least think are options, does that change people's calculations in terms of what they would be doing versus if they knew there was only 500 people there? They knew everybody from high school?
Yes, it really is a mindset thing. So it goes back to the introspection, right? So it's just like the glass half empty versus glass half full. Oh, wow, there is an abundance of opportunity for me to make money. So then I will make money versus, man, everybody took all the good ideas. I guess I'm going to go over here and work as a clerk at FedEx, So it's all about mindset. So there are no more good men, or you know what? The one good man is out there, and I'm going to connect.
And how are we evaluating the question of what does it mean to be a good man? So let's dive into that a little bit, right? What does that mean?
Well, right now, with the majority of my clients, is consistency.
That's it,
right? That's the biggest thing is consistency, because you meet a guy. Income does come up, right? Okay. So the biggest thing, we got the other biggest thing. Financial trust is a whole nother conversation, and that is something for the women because many of them are divorced,
and
right?
Many of them
and they could have been
are
wiped
now
clean,
becoming the breadwinners. They're the breadwinners in almost all these relationships,
right?
Most of the time,
and they don't want to be taken advantage of. So most of the times, I tell them don't lead with their career. Right? So lead with who you are, because sometimes we get so caught up in, well, I'm the CEO or the VP or the director of blah, blah, blah. It's like you're not on a job interview. You're here to connect with someone that you could kick it with, right? We're looking to kick it, right? So on one side, you're going to have to prove yourself in terms of finances to say, okay, well, this is someone I can open up to or open up about, and you can at least hold your weight in terms of paying for dinner. You know what I mean?
Is that a qualification, or is that more so I need to see somebody who's serious? So
what I tell my women is you want somebody with a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So it's not about how much money you make, but okay, so you could be a mechanic, you could work wherever, but do you have a growth mindset? I know you don't always read a book because it's hard for people to read books nowadays. But do you listen to a
We're readers.
But I know. But I'm talking about the general population of men, right? So can you listen to a podcast? Can you listen to a YouTube video? If I sent you something, would you be open to listening to it? Because remember, not everyone's open. Not everyone has been exposed to college, growth, reading, whatever. You know, like in terms of real personal development.
And by
not
the way,
everybody.
I'll be. Just because you've been to college doesn't mean you have a growth mindset.
Right, exactly.
People that are fixed in their thinking.
I knew college thugs in college.
Implicit in what you're saying, though, what I think is very important is that the women you're dealing with have a growth mindset.
Yes.
And so it's the synergy there.
I just need
if they have that, they need to find somebody else that has it.
Exactly. So he may not come to every personal development thing with you, but is he open to hearing about it when you come back, right? Is he open to going to a counselor? Because at the end of the day, every relationship needs a tweak and a checkup and a maintenance call and a whatever. And when you choose a dude that's like, I'm not going to listen to somebody else, like, you're in a real trouble, right? Because we all have issues. I really believe that every couple needs a mentor couple that you could go to and have real deal conversation. Like, this is what's going on with us.
But the person that sits back like this doesn't have a growth mindset.
No, exactly. And that's not the person for you. Right, exactly. So at the base of the base, I need you to get with someone with a growth mindset, because if you're working working with me, obviously you have a growth mindset, period.
Yeah,
so if you just have that person that wants to sit on the couch and watch Roseanne or whatever for the rest of eternity, that's probably not the person.
Even if it is consistent.
I'll tell you, so you talked about what pet peeves, right? So one of mine is someone looking for control all the time, right? Or everything has to be in exchange. So we had we had a
so if you like make the bed, you gotta cook the dinner.
that type of stuff, right? Really
score.
Keep it score. That's it, right?
Tit for tat.
Yeah, we talked about this. We had another episode called Black Love and Marriage, and we're gonna talk about this more. So we want to have you back on the show, and I'm enjoying this conversation.
Oh, yeah,
we're gonna do this on a regular basis. I like it. So in that conversation, one of our other co-hosts, Misha, it's her philosophy too that she. And she might want your coaching services, or she might not. I'm sorry, Misha, I don't know. But anyway,
it's a good thing.
I love
it. It's a good thing.
So, she agreed with me in this analogy that women tend to want to date horizontally or up when it comes to their income level. Is that fair? And or should that be? Is that a reasonable expectation? Or is that just one of your pet peeves? Do you think that is that something you should have as a measure?
No, it's all about the growth mindset. So sometimes we're just not afforded the opportunities. My husband has tripled in his income since we've been married. Now, mind you, he wasn't a poor man when we got together, but literally you tether yourself to the right person and you grow, right? So maybe they just needed you in their life to get their stuff together. You know what I mean?
Isn't that the goal? Like, two people, you want to get with somebody that together you guys can accomplish more than you could individually.
Exactly. So let's say you meet a starving artist, but then you're a marketer, right? So it's and you can market whatever they do and they get to the next level. So I wouldn't say at the end of the day, it's how much money they make right now.
Right.
What's the vision? What's the plan? What's the execution? And see where that's going. Not saying that you need to be the person, because that's another thing, right? Women in control will pick up projects. I don't want you doing projects, right? I believe in evangelism, but you ain't got to save everybody, right?
See,
so it's not evangelistic dating.
That's the tension I wanted to get to. How does
Right.
one measure potential and growth? Particularly
execution.
We're at a stage where none of us are old, but we're not 25, right? So if you're in this range and you say someone should have shown some steps towards growth or something, right? How do you when you're talking to your women, what's the tangible?
It's the conversation. What's the conversation about? What's the person doing with their time, right? Like you could see people by their daily agenda, right? Success is hidden in the daily agenda. What do they do with their day?
I think what you really hit on it is what you see. Even more, because people have a lot of excuses. You got to be careful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I always say I see better than I hear.
Right.
Because you got to be real careful listening. But you have to listen. People will tell you a lot if you do listen, and you really listen to what they say and how they say it. But also, what do you see in the day to day? And that tells you a lot about the person. I look at it oftentimes, it's almost like a partnership in the sense of a business, like in the business of life. Like I want to go about my life and have this certain level of fulfillment and things like that. And so I'm going to vet a person who I want on that journey with me. Then I'm not just saying, oh, boo, what do you want to do for dinner? Yeah, I'm doing all that too because you got to live. But there are other things that you're looking for in that and saying, yeah, this is a person I want to tether myself to and grow with. And there are a lot of things you have to look for that, because otherwise the growth mindset thing is mind blowing to me, because it's like if you have a growth mindset and you don't have somebody else, or then your partner doesn't have a growth mindset, then it's going to stifle you. Yeah. You're going to resent that person because you have all this stuff to talk about or that you're thinking about, and you try to go to them with it, and they're like, and so that's you're blowing my mind already.
Yeah. So just on that, respect. As men, you want to be respected, right?
Correct.
So I specifically have a client right now that you made me think of. She earns 7 figures.
Right.
Her man does not.
Most
right? Exactly.
By definition.
Right, exactly.
That's 1% of the population.
Right, exactly.
So.
But they're together and they're happy. She respects him. So that's also something else that I talk to my women about. I coach them through is how do you still give the respect to someone that you're with that can't always pay the bill, right? So you may be paying the bill, but can you pass him your card? Can he still pay the bill? You know what I mean? Like it's in the grand scheme of things, if it's somebody you're going to be with for life, what is money, right? So money is just a tool to have different experiences. So if you're still having the same experiences that you love, okay, it might be coming out of your account before you get married, but it'll be joint, right? So just being able to still have that respect when you're with your man in public, having conversations with, so you show that respect is the biggest piece. So money isn't equal to his worth, nor is it equal to yours. So it's really detaching from that, which is hard, right? I have another one who's a retiree, so that was a whole concept. Who are you now?
Right.
That you're no longer in the military, no longer doing stuff. Now you're just traveling the world. So how do you have a conversation with people? I'm location independent. Like not everybody's able to retire. She's 50.
Oh, wow.
And she is, right now she's spending 3 months in South Africa, and then she's going somewhere else, and she got a man, y'all, and who travels as well, not with her, but she found somebody that's on her level in terms of travel and mindset.
Right.
So no, he's not retired, because that's kind of tough to find somebody at 50 that can just kick it because they have real estate and whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's still amazing. So it's all about the mindset and how you have those conversations and still the respect in the relationship.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, the respect. Let me say this real quick, because it actually is something that is how it's reflected to the outside too, because it's not just you showing the respect internally, it's you showing your surroundings that there's respect there too. Oftentimes you see that even with men and women, when if somebody cheats on somebody, a lot of times the thing that hurts the most is all of her peers or all of his peers seeing them and like, oh man, that person doesn't respect you. That person, so that it's internal and external, and so it's really interesting when you said pass the card, and they're like, that's very interesting stuff. Yeah. You have studied this stuff.
She studied this.
Study full, baby. Study full.
So when you add race on top of this, black women, okay? Black women,
yes,
and
Lord.
Let's just say they want a black man too.
Yes.
There's some realities there that there are a lot less black men. Period.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Not even just. But then, what's your evaluation to say, like? Because I know a lot of black women and women in general that I know, they want a man that's income certain level, certain height too, 6'1". How do you?
You're taken, right?
Yes. So, what's your advice there when you talk to people?
It's tough, right? So I've had black women say, I don't know what to do with a white man, right? And I'm like, but they're a man, just like anybody else, right? I know many interracial couples that are happy, but I realized the climate of our country, right?
Yeah.
So in the metropolitan areas, it might be seen as cool, but you get to the sticks and it's like, what's going on,
People's
right?
eyes will still go,
Right, which is so sad. And I ask my interracial couples this often, like, how is it? And they're like, well, when we go back to, the hometown, we do get looks at times. It is a little crazy. I'm like, wow, that's still going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're literally Xing out everybody except for the one guy that fits this requirement, and you wonder why you're single. You're looking for a needle in a haystack, right? So for me, it's like your morals, your values, your mindset, like that matters more. What's your outlook? What do you want in life? And can you complement each other?
Right.
That's more important than the color that you were born into, because none of us chose the color of our skin unless you went to a tanning bed, right?
My only, I think, addition I would add to that, as long as he respects who you are, that goes back to the same thing, right? Because there has to be some respect for who you are, your culture,
and intrigue,
and your people.
right? So let's say it's a white man, he has to be interested in understanding your plight.
Correct.
As a black woman, that's also always called the angry black woman. Always question, can I touch your hair? Like if one more person asks me if they can touch their hair, right?
That's very,
so you do have to be open to understanding
your spouse and what they
culture.
go through.
Because I do know, I'm specifically thinking of a couple. A black man who is a black man and a white woman who is a white woman, right? So it's not like she's a black girl on the inside or he's a white boy on the inside. There's nothing.
There's no Rachel Dawes out.
No, they are truly who they are, and they are happily married. And it's just, they just have their own quirks. Like she believes in fairies and unicorns, and so do I. But it's like she's like real funny. And then he's like Mos Def and Mobb Deep and Wu-Tang Clan. So it's just so funny. And she's like, I don't know what that is. I've never seen you Coming to America. Like what? No way. It's like, this is crazy. I gotta have a whole movie night and show you Coming to America, but she's open, So it's just so beautiful to see that dynamic. And they actually are therapists and they help couples, in terms of their relationships. Yeah.
So speaking about changing kind of mindsets and changing narratives, we talked, pre this podcast about how you wanted to really create an experience for your daughter because she didn't have any images, particularly princess images.
Well, let's say once upon a time. Let's talk about it, right?
Talk about it.
So let me tell y'all, right? So my daughter was turning 3.
Okay.
And I wanted to have a birthday party for her. And she was specifically watching one princess on a certain station. And she watched over 100 episodes of this princess. And I noticed that, yes, the main character is white and she has a black friend, but my daughter was not remembering that black friend's name or any of the other culturally inclusive images that they had in there.
You gotta have at least one black friend.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And
at least one.
Right,
then you're cool.
They sprinkle it in one episode a season, right? So then I'm like, okay, well maybe this black friend has a birthday set. So I'm looking. No, because I thought about it. I said, okay, at her preschool, we're gonna do our first party. Do I do the white princess? But I need to represent the black princess because nobody else is gonna. Little white girls aren't gonna have a black princess party, right? So this is also a thing of representation. I need the other little kids to see a pretty black princess, right? So I'm like, all right, how am I going to do this, right? So I'm looking. Tiana, let's find Tiana. Couldn't find Tiana. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I don't see anything. So I ended up saying, this is not it, right? There's no little black princess. And all of my friends say Tiana was a princess, but she was a frog for the majority of the movie.
Yeah.
And nobody remembers the songs because it wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Like, Frozen is awesome.
Everybody remembers Frozen.
Everybody knows the songs. That was made for Broadway.
You can try to shoehorn Moana in there.
Right, exactly. You know?
And they had one in Africa, but everybody was animals too, but go ahead.
Right, exactly.
It's true.
Right, it was all animals.
Yeah,
So
we're going to hear Beyonce, but she's a lion, but go ahead.
Let's not talk about it. So when it came to a little black princess, I realized that there was none. So I decided that's what I need to do. I need to create a little black princess for my little girl. Yes, so I am on a mission to create an empire, right? So I want... Because the thing is, like, if you check my Instagram, at Inspire Many, right? So if you check my Instagram, I have a highlight video where I go to, like, all the major department stores and just go to, like, the princess section and to the night clothes section and to the other sections. Nothing with a brown girl. 100% white. And I'm like, okay, so our country is diverse, right? I thought a little brown. The best I got was a little
diverse,
purple
but there's not
vampire
equity.
person, right? Exactly. But it just made me so sad. So then some people did challenge me and say, well, maybe because the black people aren't buying. But I'm like, at the same time,
we buy.
What?
We're some buyers.
Like exactly. Don't we spend like trillion?
I think it's about 20.
Right?
With a T.
$20 trillion in stuff. So then it's like, okay, let me start to think about it. When my daughter gets gifts, little white princesses. Even the black people are buying my daughter little white princesses. And I'm like, this is just messed up. So the biggest part of what made me say I want to do this is I went to lunch with my girlfriend and her husband. And I whipped out my phone. I said, I'm working on a little black princess to represent my daughter, Ava. And she said, oh, okay, let me see it. And Ava says, let me see.
Right.
And she goes... And she puts down my phone and she looks at her hands and she looks back at the phone. She said, I don't want this one, Mommy. I want the other one. I want the white one. Child, that lit a fire. So right now I'm working on the storyline. I'm working on pitching it to a major network. Like, I'm not doing this the play way. I really want this to be, and it's like, I would like it to be about the money. Let me not even say that. But it's also about the impact that I want all children.
We can do both.
Right.
Yeah.
I want all children to see a cool black princess that they want to be. I want to see little white girls with the black girl princess outfit on saying, I want to be Princess Zara. And that's the name of my princess.
Because guess what? Black people we talked about this too. Black people start trends anyway.
Right.
We're here at Art Basel, like about $1 billion in art is going to be sold this weekend. Very little that will be black art. It's just the truth, right? But black art really rules the world. Like hip hop is going on everywhere. If you there's a group called Crazy 88. They're in Asia, and they sound like somebody in Brooklyn, and they're except they're just Asian, right?
That K-pop type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's the point is we set trends, but now we need to get value for the trends that we are setting. Exactly. So I'm glad you're doing this. Final question for you.
Oh, final question! Oh, snap!
We have a cool. Well, yeah, we can have a couple more just to get some rapid fire in. So, what's an important truth that you have? Maybe you give your clients that many people might not even agree with you on initially or just regularly. An important truth you hold that people are like, that's crazy.
important truth.
Or what do you get the most resistance on?
Yeah.
Trying to explain things or trying to bring people along.
Like you say, this is something I believe. People are like, well, I don't understand why you believe that.
Oh, well, you know, a lot of my women are over 40, over 50, so online dating for them is like a foreign language. Like, I'm not doing
You
that.
tell them to embrace it.
Yeah. How else are you going to meet somebody? You're at home, right? You go to work and you go home. You watch Netflix and chill by yourself and you're at work. Like, and that's the routine. You might do community service. You might go to church. You might volunteer, but you're really at home and you go to work. So outside of that, you're not hanging out.
Right.
You're just not.
Okay.
So online dating is the biggest thing that I am an advocate for because literally you're able to swipe like resumes through an app to see what you might like. And you can have a conversation and say, okay, we could take this to a coffee or to a chicken or to a dance.
Right.
But other than that, going to the supermarket and standing by the cash register and looking around, you know,
Just hoping it works.
I get my groceries shipped, you know, so less and less people are going into stores. So for you to find the one needle in the haystack, 6'3", blah blah blah, that likes puppies.
We're not in college anymore, so you can't just go
stand
just
on the
stand
yard.
on the yard like, oh, just hope people are coming. It's not happening.
Exactly.
You know? Nobody's coming. You gotta go. You gotta
Where did
go.
you
Put
meet?
yourself out there. What's that?
Where did you meet your special
Oh, that's
someone?
funny. She hit me up online.
Boom.
Yeah, she did.
Boom.
And I'll tell you. So I think she saw my profile and reached out as a business point of view, but I always make fun of her, like, yeah, right. So, and, you know, I read her profile. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll meet. So, and we met.
You can find love.
So you're
in
right.
DMs.
Online, like you're right.
Slide in.
Yeah, there you go.
Slide in.
And I'm the old fat.
Seriously.
I've been with my wife since 2002.
Wow.
So we got married in 2008.
And where did you meet?
We met initially. We were both in Inroads.
Okay.
And so, like, which is
I
an
knew them.
internship program.
Nice.
And then I saw her on the street and just approached her.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. He's just gonna go.
So, but it was, it was in the context of we were all interns and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, but that goes way back.
But then it's also at work, right? So
Correct.
listen, I'm not opposed to it, but I'd rather you be very sure before you do anything physical.
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard though.
I
But
tell you,
Like-
I think work is a bad. Like she
Yeah.
didn't work at the same place.
Right.
As us.
No,
right.
work is.
I
You
think
have to
work
be
is a
Work is a
very,
bad
very,
idea,
very-
but you also understand how it
Yeah.
happens because go back to what you said, you're not going out more. You're with the same person. You're like,
See,
oh,
people
that person's
see all the
attractive.
time.
Like
Right.
you see him all the time.
Yeah.
I need you to
Relationship-
be 100% sure that
You need
this
to be
is
like
your
1,000%
husband.
sure,
Yes.
and then you gotta
You
tell
can still
HR.
go,
And then you gotta tell HR before you get physical.
Well, but the exit
what I
plan,
think.
like it affects your life in so many
Right,
different
yeah.
ways. Like most relationships don't, in fact, work, and that doesn't mean everything has to be very sour at the end. But you said
If it does get sour and you at work, it's sour. Now you got something that's interfering with your money.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but
Yeah, you
that
have
goes
to
to
be
the
very
thing.
sure
If
that-
people start cleaving off so many segments of society that they can't mess with, then you do end up in a position where maybe work is an option. So
I never did
it's
work.
tough.
I'm
Yeah,
good.
I always.
I was like, I never did work. I was even messing even with clients or industry. I was kind of a little bit
Yeah.
because I
That's
wouldn't say
good.
I would never would, but like
Right.
I never have because it
Right.
was like it was just too much, too
Right.
many risks. It ain't,
Right.
It's not worth it.
It's a lot of risk.
Yeah, it goes south and then
It's a lot of risk.
well, why?
Which where we bring back to online dating. There's only like 50.
But there, you gotta pick the
Options.
right. Let's go into that a little bit. Pick the right ones too, because I never did online dating in terms of getting on a service or something. Because I have a high profile, was running public office. I just said I don't know if I could be seen on dating.
MC Light met her husband online.
Oh wow.
On a dating website. Yeah, but she's not. Well, political office. I guess the rules have changed now. Look who's in the White House. But I guess I don't know. But I mean, maybe I could be okay. The rules might have changed, but I don't
Yes.
know. I'm still black though. I don't know. I think they might be applied to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Final-
Face of the resistance.
What's that?
You
That's
said it.
resistance.
What do you get the most resistance
Yeah,
on?
online.
You
dating.
got it.
Look at it. But you got somebody, so I won't even, because I would have been like, all right, let's set up your profile right now.
This is probably going well. We're gonna go there. I think it's different for men though. For black men over a certain age, over a certain profile, it's a little different. So
In what way? You can't just say.
yeah, no, it's different because like
That's how you trying to end the episode.
you're like, what you mean side eye? I mean, it's different because I found that over 37 and meet a lot of those profiles, it's easy to tell which women are interested. Sometimes you can just kind of, without them directly saying it, because you can just tell, like when you're online and by comments you get stuff like that. No.
Oh, you're talking about like on social media?
You go out. You go out, it's kind of the same thing, though.
True.
Like you go in, you walk in the room, you got everything together.
Yeah.
You can tell, who's peeping and, everything like that.
Yeah.
So then it's also a personality thing, right? So some women I have also are anti-approaching men, right?
Yeah.
Anti. But I specifically have a friend that has never approached a woman. He's just not that guy.
How does
100% of the time, women have approached him. He's married.
Okay.
His woman approached him,
Right.
right? And he still proposed, but literally his personality type is not to approach, right?
Yeah.
So, and then some people are just
That wasn't my personality type. I could just
right?
tell. I read the tea leaves and went.
Yeah, but, right?
But that's the piece that's I always feel underaccounted for, is that people are different. Everybody's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, everybody's
And
different.
A lot of times people want to shoehorn what they think.
Right, a man should approach.
Exactly, what they think either their a partner should be or what society expects, and not really looking at, hey, what matters to me?
Yep.
And if you're not looking at what matters to you, then you're setting yourself up for failure, because all these things that you think you want or that you're telling yourself you want, you could find all that and be in a relationship, be unhappy.
But
because those aren't the things that really drive it home.
The challenge with that, James, I agree with everything you said. The challenge with that is it is hard for people to overcome what other people think of them or what they should be doing, because they just the biggest problem we have is that it's not easy. Is that you have to pretty much reject that, and people want to be seen as following the norm, and that gets them in trouble because you're going to follow the norm, and be unhappy. Like
my last summit, one of the biggest themes that came up was, if it doesn't work out, it's okay.
exactly.
Nice.
Because a part of us don't want to be hurt again.
Yeah.
We don't want to go through this.
You put yourself out there.
Exactly.
And then be rejected. Like, it's okay if it doesn't work out. Because you had a 20-year relationship, you just think the next thing is it.
Yeah.
And it may not be.
No.
And it's okay. It's okay if that doesn't work out. Like, this is just somebody you're seeking to kick it with. Like, literally. I say that all the time. You just want to see if you could kick it with the person. Because if you're turning 97, you got to be able to kick it. Like, can we kiki? Can we kick back? Can we have fun? Because, stuff doesn't always work. You know what I'm saying?
Most of the time it doesn't.
So can you actually have fun with this person?
You can do three things. Is explore. You should explore, like you said. Then eliminate. Then only execute on a few. There you go. In terms of actually making full-term commitment in time.
Yeah.
So my question for you is how does, in terms of either the service you provide or the advice that you offer and context that you provide to people, how does sex come into that? In terms
That's a good
of
question.
what people, because that's another place where expectations don't always match up with reality, and also people aren't always honest with themselves about what they want,
Right.
or the type of things
I
that they
completely
want.
agree with that.
And people, where do people learn about sex? Porn. So
That's true.
Like, seriously, your parents don't say, okay, well, this is how it goes. Nobody's parents sit down and say, okay, baby, this is how sex
Try
works.
this, it'll make it turn.
Right. Exactly.
Don't do that.
Right.
Though, because
They'll never call you back. Don't
Your
do that.
daddy and your mama are not sitting down and
Yeah.
teach you about what intricate sex is. And so,
nor are they really generally going to be very sexual around you.
right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if they are, then that's a whole nother thing, right? Like, mama,
Another problem. Yeah.
I don't want to see this, right? Yeah, right? So we're warped. As a society, we are over-sexualized. The majority of men are addicted to porn, and then that sets up false expectations in relationships, and people don't talk about it, right? So that is one of the questions in my love deck, right? And it's something to talk about, right? Some people are like, look, I don't want to be hurt again, so I don't want to open up like that, And if I do, then I think you're my husband, right? So at the end of the day, right? And some people are like, I just want to be Zeke the freak, right? So it's just being able to have that conversation and then go step by step. My husband and I, we went to an intimacy retreat because at the end of the day, right? I'm taught as a Christian woman, you keep your legs closed, but as soon as you get married, boom!
Yeah.
You're
supposed to start making it
from the
happen.
shit.
Super freak. Come down the pole.
Right? And it's just like, what? Right? So, or we're taught all of our lives never to get pregnant, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's okay now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay? I'm supposed to just be okay with getting pregnant, but I just
we can go off
all
to
my
another.
life.
We're gonna have another whole conversation about this, but I do want to say this. I think because the church sets up unrealistic expectations that half time they don't even follow.
It's tough.
And then so you tell people you're doing this, but then everybody knows you're doing something else, and it's like you're setting up false expectations and not being real with people.
And it's really a disservice because
one
thing I talk about, like just with friends, is that you need to know like your own appetite.
Right.
Like if you have a pretty big appetite, then you maybe shouldn't be looking for the good girl that doesn't. And I say good girl like in quotes, like that. Oh, you know, like you may need somebody that also has an appetite.
Right.
Now, if you don't, if you're a person that's more reserved and that's not something that's a big deal to you, then maybe the person you get, they shouldn't be on your leg every 5 minutes, like because you're not going to match up with them.
But then I do know another couple where literally the husband and wife now, right? He was her first boyfriend. He was her first kiss. He was her first everything. She is the freak of the week. Now that they're married, you know, so
it worked out. Yeah.
So it worked out. Like you just never know. And then there's people who have been molested. People who there's people that have been molested, been raped. 1 in 6, 1 in 3. You know, when it comes to women and men. So people have all type of things that they've been through. So literally, it's a conversation and it's a delicate dance, right? So for my husband
and
I,
there's so much trust that's needed
big
to open people up. Like, cause some people, as you point out, may not be overly experienced or something that they're doing all this stuff. But once there's a trust, once like they're open to stuff, you know, once there's something there. So, but that's very.
But
difficult,
then a big part of that comes back to the emotional, especially for women, right? So if you're not asking me about my day, you're not saying, "Baby, you're beautiful," you're not helping me with the kids. How you figure I'm gonna be sex kitten at night when you're not pouring into
like Ray, like come on, let's go, like what?
Right, exactly.
Well, men are visually stimulated much
more
more so, and women are more emotionally stimulated, and so that's a natural you know miss that people have to try to bridge that gap.
This is exactly why I have a membership. Hello, because listen, just you getting in the relationship doesn't mean you can maintain the relationship.
No,
right?
And that's the point. I think that. You know, a lot of times we talk about people helping people, and it's like, oh, I'll help you get a man.
Right.
When we sat down, I'm like, man, this is kind of like the movie Hitch.
Right.
You know, but it's like what you do is much more than that, though, because you teach people how to succeed in relationships, which is really, you know, that's where the rubber meets the road. Really, like a lot of people can tell you how to end up with somebody like for a day, but how do you try to make it last?
Right.
And you know, like that's the.
So I'm kind of like hitched, right, to hook you up. Oprah to give you a hug, and then Iyanla to slap you around when you start acting up.
That's a good ending. I love that. Is a good ending. That's good. Yes. Coach Cass, she'll be back on Disruption next time. You can check out what are your handles?
Handles at Inspire Many on Instagram. Ask Coach Cass on Facebook.
All right, Coach
Thank
Cass.
you very much.
Inspire Many. INSPIREMANY. Inspire Many.
There you go. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yay, guys.
It's a pleasure.